to protect the president's interest. That was what I saw. That's how I saw it.
What did you see them doing?
Well, this guy was hanging AK-47 with the rope like this, and Buba was pushing and pulling with some soldiers. What he was pushing and pulling with, I don't know. But later on, I saw them bundling him in the truck, Buba Senghor. So this guy also came very close to the truck and he stood with his gun, but he didn't aim. It was hanging on his shoulder. This is what I saw at that place. There was one gang, there was one filling station around there. That's what the Tipa Garage Junction exactly. That is the junction exactly. One goes to Bakote, SOS. One goes to Sabiji, where you that's mini turntable there, around about.
And what did you do afterwards?
Well, I saw the situation was very tense there, so I had to leave that area. I trekked towards Serakunda police station with the intention to go to LK to see what was happening there. So when I left, I met with one KMC commander called Dembo Sani. He's from Bakau. He lives in Bakau. He said to me, Ndoke, where are you from? I said, my brother. He called me Junior. Where are you from? I said, Senior. This thing has taken different dimension because we have seen different people with different guns. I don't know. He said, let's go this way. I followed him. We scaled the fence at Serakunda police station because the fence was not high, and then parts of it was demolished. We scaled that area. We entered to Serakunda police station. Then we went other direction. I came out from the main gate towards the Serakunda market, facing Westfield again. Yeah.
And what happened eventually?
Westfield, it was 2 tents there. Firing was made, tear gases were used, lot of smokes were there, tires were burned in the streets. So things were 2 tents. At the end, I could not proceed towards this place, KMC area. I had to enter that hospital there. I think they called it Dr. Peters Hospital at Westfield there. I entered there for some time. I came out. Then I took the direction towards this place I call again, LK school. I take that area. I met with Moro Jallo. Moro told me, look, let's go to ICE and see my former school where the students are out. Then we take that area. I went to that area to see whether the students were there. So he told me, rush to BSTS and tell me the principal not to open the gate. I rushed that area also, but before I reached, students were out. So we could not stop the students. Then how I take towards the mosque in the pipeline, that highway, came down to American Embassy. Then I took the other way again towards Latikunda Iringanya.
You mentioned that you saw Lamin A. Bojang and Barrow when they were shot. Did you see any other students that were injured that day?
Well, some were shouting, they shot me. But actually speaking, I have not entered because at that time it was 2 tents. We are stubborn to see everything, but unfortunately we could not withstand the test of trial because a lot of gunshots were made. So what we had to do was to run away. I saw some students lying down on the ground, but I did not go and see I did not go and confirm what happens to them, definitely speaking.
Do you know if Lamin A. Bojang or Barrow survived the shots they suffered from?
No, both of them died. I think Lamin A. Bojang, in fact, I think he died instantly. The Barrow, I think he was taken inside Red Cross around the gate there. Then the ambulance took him, but finally, I think he could not stand the test of trial. He succumbed to the natural call.
Do you know how many people lost their lives that day?
That day, it was after the incident, we realized that most of the people who died were students. And according to when we made our findings, we realized with 4A newspaper, we made findings with 4A newspaper. There was one boy, Patin Jallo. We were always with him in the streets, finding out, hospitals finding out. When we went to the hospital, we found that some students were there, others were in the mortuary. We didn't go to the mortuary definitely, but then we knew they said there were some students lying there who were there as a result of gunshots and the like. Others were at the ICU. One of them was his Fambai and Lamin F. Ture. Lamin Ture, I think they cut he was amputated because that guy was going for, according to him, he was going for his visa at the American embassy to go to South America. This thing happens and he was going, and then gunshot was made. Unfortunately, he touched his knee, and I think his leg was cut. I met his Fambai at the hospital, but I didn't talk to him. They said this is one of the students. It was later on I realized that that was his Fambai when he made a courtesy call to him in his house when he became president. When I became president of Gamsu in 2002.
Briefly tell us what happened to you after this incident, because we have a very short window here.
Yes, Council, it was sad because personally, the government of the Gambia at the time, I was sacked. I was a teacher. I was sacked from my teaching profession because I was on a study leave at the University of the Gambia. My salary was stopped. My service was terminated with the head of with the government, central government. In fact, I was employed at the end when I was sacked. After my graduation at university, I went to Charles Dow to become to teach there because I was employed there too. Charles Dow Secondary School on Alpha Khan. I taught there briefly for 1 year or so. The second year, my service was terminated because Alpha Khan was in good books of the government, and I was not in good terms with Alpha Khan. So the KMC, it was going KMC school, they stopped my service also. So I had no employment. My service was stopped. My scholarship at the university was terminated. I got my scholarship at the university, it was terminated. I lost my compound to the state because the government seized my compound. And again, I was on the roll of Social Security Housing Finance Corporation in 2005 to be allocated a plot of land in Jabang. I was called for interview. I went for interview, and then later on, they called me. They said, the plot cannot be given to me. I went there to find out. They said, well, this is a legislative order. We can't do anything. So I lost all my socio-political and economic rights in the country. I had no employment. Until lastly, in 2005, at the end, I applied to work at Gamstar Insurance Company as administrator by Nongo Fall, a brave Gambian businessman for that matter. I must always applaud him because he is somebody who actually loves Gamsu. He was the only Gambian businessman who was always out to help the students, more especially Gamsu. If you go to his office now, you find Gamsu certificates there. Even Yajame was there. You find Gamsu certificates everywhere in his office. He was our personal friend. I got employment there until 2007 when attempts were, because 2006 I was arrested. Last, it was terrible. And then when I was released, I was told by a close friend of mine that if I sleep in my house, I would be a dead man. So that's how I left the Gambia, unceremoniously, unexpectedly, for greener pasture. Yeah, actually, my family was also disintegrated. My wife, she was doing her HTC at the time, and then School of Nursing. Her course was almost disrupted. My children could not go to school. My two brothers and my sister-in-law were with me. They had to abandon and go to provinces to stay with different parents, because they were haunting me day and night. So I don't want them to become victims of the situation. So they had to go. So my family was disintegrated, and we were barred from taking part in government activities, and even in political organizations like social gatherings. I was deprived of taking part in most of these things. So I was under surveillance 24/7. I had my internet cafe. It was surveillance by one Ibu Ba, NIA officer, operative from the Bundum police station, Bundu NIA. At the end, the NIA had to close my internet cafe, where I had, I think, 21 computers, but 12 functional. They arrested me, took all my computers, because that coincided with Freedom Newspaper saga, and then they took my computers away. They gave me one of the computers, the rest were left with them. Up to date, I don't know what they were about those computers. Yeah, actually, it was terrible and bad for me because My family suffered a lot. My parents, my father, in fact, when he died, I was barred from attending his funeral because I was exiled. I could not even go to Senegal at the time. So my father in my absence because of because he had sometimes he had what we call high blood pressure. Because of that, my father died when I left. My one of my brothers also died as a result of the torture method on me because they couldn't withstand being the breadwinner of the family, being in that situation. Now I was jobless. Sometimes we used to go and bake bread from the Tani Highway. There was one bakery. My wife and I, with one of my best friends called Alcalo Jabate, Bakar Jabate, who lives in Bundu. He used to accompany me anywhere I'm going. We go and buy dry bread from there. We come and put it in the milk. We used to buy milk from one man called Saw in Bundu. We use that one to eat as our dinner.
I note from your statement you submitted at paragraph 38 that you were arrested 7 times.
Yes, Council.
After the incident of April 10 and 11.
April 10 and 11. Yes, Council.
And in each of those times, you were harassed and intimidated by security officers.
Yes, Council.
We are running out of time right now, and I just wanted the commissioners to take note of that fact. Thank you very much for answering all of my questions. And thank you for making yourself available on short notice as well.
No problem, Council.
Mr. Chairman, I'll hand over the witness to you for further questions.
Thank you very much indeed, my counsel, and thank you, Mr. Laji Nyabale, for your testimony and for agreeing to come and testify before the commission. Sorry again, you're another one of those victims who suffered a lot, not just you, but also members of your family. Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. If not, Mr. Nyabali, if you have any concluding remarks to make, please proceed to do so now.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do have. Good morning, Council. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the TRRC, one of the most credible and noble commissions ever in the history of the world. We have witnessed and read a lot of the commissions set all over, but the Gambia's under Dr. Cisse and Issa Fall is a unique one. And first and foremost, because we had run out of time, I will only advise the Gambians from the top brass to the caretakers of the country. We know the TRRC of this commission is not been set to make a joke or witch hunt anybody. If there is anyone to help this TRRC, I think I should be one of the first Gambians to help TRRC, and I would seek for indulgence, Mr. Chairman, so that the Gambians listen to this message carefully and don't take it as political or don't take it as something subversive to the state. This Noble Commission of TRRC is a commission tasked with the responsibility of discovering and revealing past wrongdoings by the former government with the hope of resolving conflicts left over from the past. The case study of the Gambia is the most special one from the world records. The high caliber and professional personalities like Dr. Cisse, Mr. Issa Fall, and the rest of the council members, from the investigators to the cleaners. This commission is one of the most noble ones. Let's respect this commission. Let's wait for the outcome of this commission. Many are called, but few are chosen. These people at the high table there, helping the Gambia, they have sacrificed a lot. It's one of the most risky jobs we have seen in Canada until most of their commission members were shot to death, were killed. But the Gambia being a very peaceful country. These guys have taken the responsibility to serve and help the Gambia government and the Gambians. So let's give them maximum respect and honor so that they complete their mission. Whatever they do, I believe, and I'm sure, they are doing within the framework of a law. These are all legal practitioners. These are all legal professionally minded. Some are teachers. They have been in the social sector for so long. So whatever they do, let's leave it at that until they make their recommendations. It is left to the citizenry and the Gambians to take an action if the state don't want to take action. Because you can't kill me, kill my parents, kill my people, and you want this person to go scot-free without justice being done. Martin Luther King said, injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So, Council and Mr. Chairman, one of the cardinal points or reasons for the Gambia's TRRC, this TRRC is very noble, is to return to the victims and survivors their civil and human rights, which were taken away from them from the past 22 years. To restore a moral order, seek the truth and make it known to the nation. To create a culture of human rights and respect for rule of law. Restore sanity and rule of law with the hope that we will never and ever repeat some of these awesome and gruesome mistakes, the tragic mistakes the perpetrators made in the past. Instead of revenge, there will be reconciliation. Instead of forgetfulness, there will be knowledge and acknowledgement. Instead of rejection, there will be acceptance and a compassionate state. Instead of violation of human rights, there will be restoration of moral order and respect for the rule of law for better Gambia. I would like to advise His Excellency, the President of the Gambia, that being the executive head of the country, Mr. President, good governance is accompanied by responsibility. So therefore, Your Excellency, Mr. President, the country does not belong to the executive, it belongs to the Gambians. Let's continue to respect the citizens' rights and the Constitution. If we Gambians don't respect the leaders, leaders will not respect us, but leaders need to reciprocate and respect the citizenry. We have seen how the former President Yahya Jammeh was indemnified, or how he was used as small god of the Gambia. People thought Yahya Jammeh was a small god in the country. People in fact said he appears and disappears. Because I had a concept when I came to Europe. When my house is dark, before I put on my light, I used to think Yahya Jammeh would be in my house, because I was afraid completely, totally afraid, because of the tortures made on me in the Gambia by the National Intelligence Agency and the other security outfits. From there, the stakeholders, one need to learn to be respected and be respected, to be sincere and show sincerity. As Muslims and Christians, to be kind to those you meet on your way up, for you may meet them on your way down. How can one individual muzzle and stage manage the whole country for 22 years as the byproduct of his own family? The Gambians must stop to see such things happening in this country. The president is only a figurehead. People made the president a president. So the president cannot come and superimpose things on the Gambians, and we see it go like that. This is how we grow dictators. One will come as a president, and he's a very good man, but at the end, those who surround him will make him a wicked man. Exactly happens in the prehistory of the Gambia, Yahya Jammeh's time. It started good, ended bad. The security personnel from the army, the joint security forces, the Gambia Armed Forces, the police, national intelligence, the prison officers, the customs and immigration, would ask you one favor. The uniform you're wearing is the taxpayers' money. The petrol you use, the things you use have been paid from the taxpayers' money. Soldiers are not supposed to arrest people. National intelligence are not supposed to arrest people. The arresting team is only the police. Don't seize others' responsibility. Soldiers are meant to defend the country against external aggressions. But to use arms against your own citizens is uncalled for, unpalatable, unjust, undemocratic, irreligious, or in fact sacrilegious and abomination. Because the life you save may be your own. We hope and pray that the security personnel in the Gambia will never accept to succumb to the wheels of executive, which is not in the interest of the Gambians. It has happened, I will appeal to the Gambians, let us exercise maximum restraint and patience, because most of us today blaming those perpetrators today. If we were in that position, we would have done, if not more than what they have done, we would have done the same thing. Why? Because that time we have not known these evil things being done by those perpetrators. By the time you realize your mistakes, it is too late. So we appeal to the Gambians and the international donors to help this TRRC to make sure the TRRC does its work correctly. And then TRRC also, your recommendations will be like a gospel truth, will be our Quran, will be our Bible. We will trust it and we will take it with the truth. And with your recommendation is, we hope it not be like the Janneh Commission, when millions of taxpayers' money has been invested on this, at the end, the state put it under the carpet. That is not this commission of inquiries. That is not this TRRC council. And Mr. Kiaman. Mr. Kiaman, we have suffered a lot, and we have all fought together to bring this Gambia to where it is today. So if you can see one person, mostly the Gambians, to use the Gambia as his own byproduct, Mr. Kiaman, the Gambians should not seek to see that happen again in this country. We have worked with international organizations, international groups. We have seen how citizens have the rights to exercise their freedom. So if the Gambia is an exception to the UN Convention, Commonwealth of Nations, African Union, ECOWAS, to name but a few, we Gambians should not sit on our laurels and see Gambia fall in the hands of a dictator. I'm not saying Gambia should revolt against the state, but when it's necessary, Gambia should engage the state in the dialogue. This dialogue will never fail, because we believe we have professionals in the Gambia now. The soldiers, we have been in contact. I spoke to most of you guys, and I've advised you that your role, you know it. Intelligence, I spoke and advised you. Police, I did the same thing, and I wrote series of letters following this thing whilst I'm on asylum because of my experience here. I would advise and Mr. Consul, it is really sad to notice that the Gambia is still going into the hands of a dictatorship again. I don't think we, the Gambians, should accept that again and again. Because the Gambia is ours. If we stood accept the Gambia to go into the same system like the Jammeh's government, there is no need to go to school. There is no need for us to have a state. Instead, let's squash the Gambia to Senegal and let Senegal administer the Gambia. Because Gambians, most of the Gambians are selfish and egocentric. You are in a position you don't want to consider the people. Instead, you want to be egocentric just to feed your family and feed your relatives. Poor people are only suffering. We are born poor, educated poor, we grow poor, we are dying poor. Those who are at the helm of the administration, Mr. Chairman, are abusing their offices, abusing our resources. We have the espionage section, we have the economic section, we have the subversive of the intelligence. What is their role, Mr. Chairman? Why can't they engage the president on the level discussions to make sure the Gambia is ours? Let us respect each other. Let us respect the Constitution.